be where your boots are. The Dallas Stars have finally got a head coach. They've pretty much finished free agency. The draft is over. The summer has officially begun in Dallas for the Dallas Stars. This is Clean Sheet of Ice, a Texas hockey podcast brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Ready to drink cans are great during the summer. Throw a koozie on those puppies after you grab them out of the cooler. They're wonderful in the morning time. They're wonderful in the afternoon. They're wonderful at night. We love Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. I'm your host, Stone Strankman, joined always by Dom Garcia. How we doing, bud?
You know, we finally have a full organization. It feels nice to know because, God, I'm talking to somebody who is a credentialed member of the media, and this Dallas Stars were radio silent for way too long, and to have structure back and to be heading in the right direction, ready for another season. I'm a little refreshed, even though it's 100 degrees right now here in Texas. Feels good.
Yeah, I'm excited that everything's done, and now I can just kind of look at the team and see where we're at and kind of just think about October. Just keep dreaming about October, getting back in AAC, feeling the cool air in the hot October month because I'm sure it's going to be 90 degrees still in October, but wearing a light sweater, light jacket into the press box and just watch some hockey, hear the crisp sounds of skates on the ice, the sticks and the pucks, the glass hitting each other, Tyler Seguin yelling for Dumba to feed him pucks so he can practice his tips. Excited for all of that, but the summertime is finally here. We're going to be slowing down recording, obviously, through July and August. There's not a lot to talk about. They had the development camp last week. I was out of town. Obviously, I was in the Deep South visiting family. And, yeah, I just been a little bit unplugged. So we're getting back into it. Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast is back. We're going to be back weekly. We're going to be talking about things, random things that happened during the season, predictions. We're going to get through all of that throughout the summer. But Glen Gulutzan is officially your head coach of the Dallas Stars. It is a retread, technically. Glen was the head coach in 2011 through 2013. He came in as the interim head coach, got the job. Jim Nill obviously got hired at the end of the 2013 season and fired Gully from his first head coaching stint in the NHL and in Dallas. That was acknowledged in the press conference. I rewatched the press conference this morning to kind of pick up on some things that I missed the first time watching it. But Jim Nill that's my GM. You know, I'm going to trust him with my life. I didn't trust him with Pete DeBoer when he hired him, and then we went to 3 straight Western Conference finals. The Dallas Stars did, and you know, I'm going to trust the process. I'm going to trust the guy that's put together one of the best teams in hockey, top 4 team in hockey over the last 3 seasons, and made some big trades, great signings, and all the things. So Goalie was an assistant coach in Edmonton. I believe he ran the forward group in the power play when he was there. The power play really picked up when he showed up in Edmonton, I believe in 2018, and it just kind of moved on up from there. They're hitting close to 50 wins every season. The offense, obviously, when you have Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, is a little bit easier, but it felt like they just never didn't score on the power play. So excited about that. But yeah, Gully just kind of went out on the limb and was just like, yeah, no, I understand that. I was here 12 years ago and it did not go well. We were owned by the league. We didn't have a good salary cap roster. Like they were $20 million under the salary cap, I believe, when he was the head coach there. And you can't really be competitive in a league where if you're not up against the cap, you're probably just not going to be competitive. And especially back then when you didn't have a lot of talent. I know Seguin shows up and Ben, and you got them in the prime, but that was it, really. And it just wasn't a good first tenure for Gully, and I'm glad he gets a second shot. He impressed me in the press conference, to say the least.
I thought the same thing. His press conference won me over. He said things that very much like it felt like he was in the know of Dallas Stars fans and what they were expecting from this team. And listen, man, at the end of the day, there's a bunch of leadership in this locker room. It doesn't take too much of a strong man at the head coaching position for this team to get where it needs to be. It's a great job for goalie. I mean, there's youth, there's experience, there's everything in between. And, it's like you said, I trust Jim Nill with everything. I worked for an organization that went through 3 coaches in 3 years, and they found one to where the players just play and they don't have to worry about anything else. And I think that's what's going to happen. It's just I don't see any reason why. Like when you look back and like you just mentioned it, like he was dealt. I think Robert Tiffin said it. He was dealt with a really bad hand in his first gig, and he did as much as he could. I equate it to kind of Andre Tyranny in the last couple years in Arizona. Like there was only so much you could do with everything around at that time. And you look at him now, like they're on the up and up, and their players believe in him. And I think when you have Jake Ottinger in net and you have this forward group, but as long as you got the Finns, like I don't question leadership, and it's exciting to see what this next year brings. I don't think a step backward will be in the cards. I think a step forward, or even exactly where they are in a competitive Western Conference, should be the outcome. And I hope he hits the ground running with Dallas.
Yeah, I think the things that stood out to me in the press conference were him acknowledging that it didn't go well the first time, and he knows that he was a part of that. Like, he knows that the circumstances weren't in his favor, but he didn't perform up to the standard that they needed, so he was fired. Jim Nill, right as he's brought in, fires the coach, and he mentioned physical play, greasy goals, starting early, and not by game 83. And we've said it all season long, is like, you need the greasy goals, and you need to hit people, you need to be more physical, and he said he wants to start that from game 1, not game 83, where I think that's what happened with Pete DeBoer. It's like, okay, now it's playoff time. Try to go hit people a little bit more, but not too much. Keep doing the offense the same way, perimeter style offense, nice, clean goals, crisp passing, and tic-tac-toe goals and all that kind of stuff, which all happens in the playoffs with all the great teams. But having that physical play and having greasy goals right off the bat will excite me. He wanted to get a little bit bigger, a little bit more physical, which we'll get into with who they signed in free agency. And that was the biggest point for me. It's like, he knows that they have to be more physical because Edmonton, not a crazy physical team, but showed like, I mean, Zach Hyman was leading the league in the NHL playoffs in hits with over 100 hits in 12 games, 13 games played. Like, he was out there hitting. And if he can get that guy to go hit people, I mean, you're going to have Mikko hitting people. You're going to have Wyatt, Robo, whoever. Like, they're all going to be throwing hits now. They may not be haymakers, but they're going to be hits, and you're going to feel them. And you make sure that's an important part of play in the playoffs. And he wants to start that before the playoffs even start, which may lead to more injuries, may lead to differences in their style of play. And I think his defense is going to be completely different than what Pete DeBoer had, because Pete DeBoer, it was like one of the only coaches in the NHL to run that style of offense or defense. And it works with some people and it doesn't with others. I think he mentioned that is like, hey, some players need to play a different kind of defense, and we're going to have to figure that out and see what happens. I mean, you still got studs. You got Miro, you got Essa, and you got Thomas Harley on your defensive core. Like, you got half of your defensive core is elite, essentially. Like, two of them are offensive defensemen, but also great defense guys. And then Essa Lindell is the PK god, where he shuts everything down on the PK. So he's got options to play with in the defensive group. And now you got Liam Bichel, Nils Lundqvist is back, and you kind of got you got things to work with and things to change and all that. But I'm excited about physical play, greasy goals. They don't look pretty, but watch Florida. If Florida's your team, they're physical, they get greasy goals, and they don't care how they go in. Figure it out. Get a goal on the board, shut them down, be more physical, get the next goal. Like, that's what they play, and I want the Dallas Stars to do that. I think they have the team to do that. It's just the system has to be put in place for where that is what's going to happen, where they're going to be physical, they're going to go get greasy goals. And if goalie's saying that in his opening press conference, I'd expect that to be happening during the preseason in game 1. I think that's what we're going to see a lot more of from the Dallas Stars hockey.
Yeah, and with the talent that they have, if you have a physical Dallas Stars team, boy, like I'm kind of noticing to get through the West, you can't outskill anybody. Even with how good Mikko Rantanen is and the amount of goals he scored, it's gonna take the grease. And I hopefully we take note and move forward with that. And also, with everything that happened, take care of your goalie, because your goalies have been taking care of you, even the backup, all last season. There's not much you got to do with them. Just whisper sweet nothings in their ear. Do whatever it takes. They're good, and let them play their game.
Goalie also has great hair, so that's a juxtaposition between DeBoer and him. He's got a full head. He's got it slicked back. He's got all of it going for him. And be where your boots are, man. I don't know. He said that in the press conference. It stuck with me since then. It's just like, hey, it's game 1. Be where your boots are. Play game 1. It's game 2. It's game 83. It's game 87. It's game 90. Like, be where your boots are. Play those games where you're at. Don't worry about the past. Don't worry about the future. Play this game and do it to the best of your abilities. So I like the pick now. I was questioning it before. They also brought up Neil Graham from the AHL, who was in contention for the Dallas Stars head coaching job. He's done a great job at Texas Stars. He's a Texas Stars guy. Brought him up. Like, they're not having top picks every year. They're in late rounds, late in the first round and late in the second round. They're not getting studs necessarily on draft night, but when they come in, like Wyatt Johnston, Logan Stankoven, Maverick Bork, Liam Bishop, like, they're developing these guys into studs immediately. And they may be studs before they showed up to Texas, but Neil Graham was a part of that. And for him to get up into the assistant job for Dallas, I think is a huge development for his career, but I think as well for the Dallas Stars. He's coached a lot of them, like Wyatt, Maverick, Leon. Like, you got all these guys that have played in Texas over the years and have played under him. You bring him up onto the bench just to be the assistant, to run the power play or forward group, whatever it may be. I think that's a huge win. If he was in contention to be a head coach for the Dallas Stars and you're able to just tell him that, hey, we're going to hire another guy, but you're going to come up as well and be an assistant coach, and for him to take that, I think that's huge testament to the Dallas Stars organization, that they love to keep their guys and they want to develop the coaches as well as the players. So I think Neil Graham, and then you got Nazardine. I think he got a really good coaching staff now. I think everything kind of rounded out the way I wanted it to, and we'll obviously see what happens next year with Gully and how the team plays and everything, but you got a top 5 roster, and I think you got a really good coaching staff. Anything could happen.
Yeah, and that's actually a really big thing. And the Astros do a good job of that too, of promoting within on their coaching staffs. And for a player to come in, we saw Liam Bishop come in and right away just feel comfortable. And for a new coach, that's going to be huge, because we have all of this knowledge and all of this time spent with these players that he's not going to have. So we can kind of link that together. I really, really loved Nazardine coming back. I was very scared at the time when some assistant coaches were moving on, that he would be 1-2, because he's a really good coach. And for him to be in Dallas is big. I know his roots are really planted in Dallas. I know his son played youth hockey there. And I think he's going to get a head coaching job pretty soon, but it's good to have him for the time being.
Yeah, he's got one more year on his contract. Pete DeBoer has mentioned him as the next guy to go get a job, him and Spot. He spoke highly of both of them, and obviously Spot left for Boston, but we kept Naz and bring up Neil Graham. I think that's a huge win for the coaching staff. Obviously, it's all going to be system dependent on what happens with this roster if they move forward to the Stanley Cup final and win one. TBD, obviously, you got to see what this system looks like, but I think they got the pieces in place, and with pieces in place, you mentioned leadership earlier, and that's a big thing in this locker room, and they kind of police themselves, and the coach doesn't have to do as much work in the locker room. It's more of an X's and O's kind of thing, on the ice kind of thing, and Pete DeBoer's gone, and now Gully's in, but guess who's right back? Our captain, Jamie Benn. $1 million deal for 1 year with bonuses up to $3 million, all, I believe, depended on like games played and then playoff incentives. Like if they make the Western Conference Finals, if they win the Western Conference Finals, if they go to the Stanley Cup, they win the Stanley Cup, he can get up to $3 million, and that's all going to be paid out of next year's cap, essentially, if that happens. But $1 million deal from a guy that was making $9 million to go down to $1 million as the captain of the Dallas Stars. I think that's a huge testament who Jamie Benn is, and understanding the player that he is now, but also understanding, like, I'm not leaving. I'm never going to play anywhere else. I'm going to be Dallas Star for life. I'm going to have a statue. I'm going to have my number up in the rafters one day. I'll do whatever it takes to get this team over the hump. So I think that was a huge testament to Jamie, Jim Nill, everyone getting that deal done. Huge. $1 million for 1 year for Jamie Benn.
Yeah, dude, he was going to play for free if he had to. And, you know, in a world of modern sports right now, I mean, isn't it the worst when a player has to wear, like when Charles Barkley wore a Rockets jersey, or when Olajuwon was with the Raptors? It's like,
Feels
man,
bad.
or Jordan with the Wizards. It's like, oh God, like you didn't have to get there. And luckily Altuve will never wear any other jersey but an Astros jersey. And I would say the same thing with Jamie. I mean, if there's room out there for a statue, it's got Jamie Benn's name on it. He is a Dallas Star among Dallas Stars, and boy, that pay cut is quite a haircut, man. I mean, and Jim Nill just keeps doing it, dude. Like he needs to get when he's done, he needs to get into some kind of sales role because man, he's the Wolf of Wall Street with talking these people into these contracts.
Yeah, I mean, we said it on the Matt Duchene re-signing thing where Matt Duchene was like, I didn't enjoy the negotiations. I didn't really like everything, but at the end of the day, we got to a number that we could both be okay with, and that's where we're at. So 4.5 for Duchene, 1 for Jamie Benn, like it's $5.5 million. That's what Mikael Granlund was under contract for last year, and you got 2 of those players for it. I know Jamie's not going to be a 30-goal guy again. He might not be a 20-goal guy again, but to have his leadership in the room, I think, is paramount because if you remember the end of the regular season, Jamie Benn left on paternity leave. They didn't say that at the time, but his first baby was being born, and they lost 7 games in a row to end the regular season right as Jamie left. And obviously he came back during the middle of that, but you start that skid and it was hard to get out of it. So getting him back, having that leadership room of Jamie, Tyler Seguin, you got all the Finns in there. Now you got Mikko Rantanen, Matt Duchene, Wyatt Johnston. Like you've got leaders in different walks of their careers and different status of their career as well. Like you got Mikko Rantanen, the superstar, but he's a super vocal guy in the locker room apparently, and that's what we heard after the year. And obviously you got Seguin, Benn, the long-standing Dallas Stars that probably both get their numbers retired one day, and to have him back at that number is insane. He could get more on the open market, and he just didn't want to leave. And I love that about Jamie Benn.
Yeah, no, dude, and there are a lot of players that take haircuts as far as compensation. That might have stood out as one of the biggest. I mean, that was just flat out. Listen, man, I've made my money. If I ever win a cup, there's no other place I want to win it with than Dallas, Texas, and that's awesome to see. I love it. I love it. And listen, even if he's half the Jamie we had last year, just the fact that he's going to be out there, getting those extra poke checks and stick checks and being physical is exactly what this team needs.
Yeah. And I mean, look at the other guy that came in, Colin Blackwell. Resigns with the Dallas Stars. I love Colin Blackwell. He's my guy. He's one of my favorite players to watch because he's definitely not the biggest. He's definitely not the fastest. He's definitely not the hardest hitting. He's not the most skilled guy in the room, and everyone knows it. And he just comes in and he gets goals. He throws hits. He gets in fights. He does all those things. He came in with the Dallas Stars at $775,000 or maybe $750. I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, $775 league minimum for 1-year deal this last year, and he's back. He did it again. He's right back. 2 years, $775K. He doesn't care about the money. He wants to play here in Dallas. He loves the team. I think he likes the culture. He's an American guy. I know he's from up north, but he's in Dallas, and he's in Dallas for the next 2 years. I think he has some stability. I think that's one thing that he was looking for. He got 2 years out of it, and getting Blackie back is – I love that guy. I can't wait to talk to him next year when we get back in the locker room with the guys at practice and stuff. He's funny. He's a goofball and all that kind of stuff, but he's a hell of a player, and he's worth more than $775,000 a year, but I'll take him at that rate. I mean, absolutely take him at that rate.
Yeah, when he signed, I was ecstatic, and I was looking at it, not in the NHL, but in the NBA. Like, you only sign a league minimum deal if you have to. If you're like a guy that should be playing in China, but for some reason there's a roster spot, like 2 point guards go down, like what happened in Dallas, and you have to take that deal. To talk Blackwell into taking a league minimum deal is a testament to just like, dude, we got what we need to win. He knows it. And we said this kind of closing out the year, I think, with him in that, like, he was in a great spot to show his talent. And I think he could have got way more. But it's going to be awesome to see him back. And he's a guy that I'm sure you're in the locker room, so you would know more than me. Like, you need those guys around in that long 82 game season, and for him to get that stability is really awesome. I'm really happy for him. I think he's going to do exactly what he did last year, and that's overachieve like he always does.
Yeah, and I think with Blackwell last season, he didn't play super consistently. Play a couple games here, take a couple games off or a game off, and then come back in. And obviously, with all the injuries, he got a little bit more run. I think this year he might just be stapled in with Sam Steele on that fourth line. And it's just like, all right, boys, go out there, Oscar back, Blackwell, Steele. There's your fourth line. Be a fourth line. Be grinders, be gross, be greasy, have fun with it, hit some people, be pests. Like Colin Blackwell's the best pest on our team. I love him. So I think with him coming back for 2 years, that's huge because you don't really have to worry about your fourth line and filling those guys in like they have over the last 3-4 years. Is where they're just signing guys for a year, and you're like, all right, you're a fourth line guy. You'll play 3 games in a row. You'll take 2 games off, like that kind of thing. I think Blackwell was content with doing that. He's a little bit older now. He's in his 30s, I believe. So just having 2 years of stability to be on a contending team and knowing his role where he gets to go be a pest, he gets to go hit people and try to get those greasy goals, just like the playoffs where he fired it from 20, 30 feet and when got that rebound in overtime against Colorado in game 2 and just had a nice goal right there. The puck was sitting there. He grinded a little bit harder than the other guys and he got the goal. He got the moment, and I'm excited to have him back. I'm thrilled about that. Outside of re-signings, though, the Stars did make a free agency choice. It's a return. It's a return of Radek Faksa. The Fox is back in Dallas. He was a lot like Blackwell for me before. Like, he played the PK. He was a physical guy. He's on the fourth line center, and you throw him in there. He's on the third or fourth line. He's not a bad player. I know he's in his 30s now, but 3 years, $2 million a pop. Having Faksa back just makes your team a little bit more physical. Like Goalie said, he wanted to be a little bit more physical. Going to get Faksa, that helps out with that. You throw him on the third line, fourth line, PK. He's going to be physical. He's going to be responsible. He's going to get you some goals here and there. He's going to play a decent offense, but it's going to be kind of a shutdown forward and make sure he's hitting people. So I think that helps out with that. And Faksa's game-winning goal against Vegas in Game 7, 40 seconds into the third period, and it's like that stupid backhand that just had no shot of going in, just goes right in. I'm happy to have Faksa back. It just adds an element that we were kind of missing on that fourth line last year. A little bit bigger, a little bit more physical, because Oscar back, as big as he is, he's not the fastest, and he's not going to throw the biggest hits. Throws kind of similar hits to Blackwell or Steele does, and Faksa will be able to help that physicality out on that fourth line to add with Steele and Blackwell and back. I think that's going to be a fun fourth line that you can kind of interchange in and out depending on the game. But having him back helps the physicality, helps the leadership in the room, and it's a guy that understands this locker room. He doesn't have to learn anything. That's the biggest thing. It's like when you come in, like Mikko Rantanen had to learn what was going on in the locker room, who's the leaders, who speaks up, when do I get to speak if I need to, like all that kind of stuff. Faksa knows what he's walking into. It's pretty much the same team for the most part, and it's a good ad. It's not an expensive, it's not a flashy ad. I know Mitch Marner went to Vegas and saw that deal go down, but I like Faksa. I love Blackwell. I love Jamie Benn, and having all those guys come back, I think that's a win for the Dallas Stars.
Yeah, no, I mean, when Faksa was a name that just, with everything that was going on right when free agency hit, I just wasn't even thinking about. But when we did get him, I was like, oh, wow, he's the ultimate guy that's not going to show up in the stat sheet, but makes winning plays. Like, he's going to be that transition to a goal. He's going to be that tone setter for a big play for Dallas. When there's no juice in our legs on a back-to-back, he's going to do something that's going to help us win. And right when I heard the name, I was like, oh, why was I not thinking about this earlier? That definitely checks the box for this team. I'm telling you, man, if we can get these greasy goals in last postseason, things might have gone different. And now this season, we get to actually see it. And I like the move, and I like this locker room, and they all know each other. They all know each other. They all know the city. And this team gets to grow with the city, and I'm really excited for that. And there's not 4 teams in the Western Conference. I mean, I know it's an arms race, but the depth that Edmonton had, and I know they didn't win, but we're starting to see it with this Dallas Stars team. And this consistency in the fourth line is all you could ask for. Like, the worst thing that can happen in hockey is when you have a fourth line where they're going to have one game where they just explode, and then for 4 games they're just a non-factor. And with this fourth line and third line, you know what you're going to get. And so now you need your stars to play like stars. And I think that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and with the West, you mentioned Edmonton. I'm looking at Colorado, Winnipeg in the Central Division. They both got worse in free agency.
Yes.
The Dallas Stars
Yes.
stayed the same. So at that rate, like you beat both of them in the playoffs, and they both got worse. And now you get a full year of Mikko, another year of Wyatt's development. Maverick Bork, if he takes a step, like get a full year of Miro and Thomas Harley back. Like, kind of got better in the Central Division without really doing anything outside of Foxa. Like you just didn't. I know you got Granny's gone, Cece's gone, Dadenout's gone, but I think Blackwell can and Steele and Foxa can mitigate the daddy numbers. I think Granny is a bigger loss, but it's like they knew that was a rental going into it before the Miko trade. They were like, yeah, we'll probably be able to extend him. We want to keep him when they made that trade, and then they'd make the Miko deal. They're like, we'll see if we can keep him. He got $7 million from Anaheim. Don't blame him for leaving. Like, take the $7 million. Go for it, pal. Loved my time with him. But CC is another defenseman's like, we got another year of, we got Nils back. We got a new year of Bischel. You can call up Petro. Like, think defense is fine without CC. Daddy he's an offensive guy, and he's a Pete DeBoer guy, especially. And he followed Pete DeBoer pretty much everywhere and played for him in a lot of places. And yeah, him leaving, he's like 20 goals. Like, can I get 20 goals out of Sam Steele, Foxa, Blackwell back? Yeah, I can get more than that. So I'm all right. I love Daddy. I had a lot of fun conversations with him in the locker room later on in the season, but leaving those three guys off the books, it's okay. And you bring in Foxa back. But the real question now is what's the next move? Because they are over the cap by $1.7 million. There has to be a move before the season starts, or before preseason starts. Maybe I can't remember what the date is actually, but that's the one thing they've got to pay attention to. Is it Dumba? Is it Lyubushkin? Is it somebody else that we're not even thinking about that is on the move? Is the Robo trade actually coming back? I know Robert Tiffin wrote about it this morning. I haven't read it yet, but there's another move to be happen before the season starts. So we'll see what that ends up being, because they are 1.7 over the cap, and they don't have to be cap compliant for another few months. So there's something happening. I couldn't tell you what it is.
Yeah, no, Jeff Merrick has also been on this Robo trade talk, and it kind of, the flame started to light again about 4 or 5 days ago from the day we're recording. And listen, we all thought we knew Jim Nill, that he would never trade first round picks, and then he just emptied the clip and made the right move. So I still don't like the idea of trading Robo, but as it sits now, if you have to make one more move to get under that cap compliance, it's kind of like how my Rockets got KD, and they had to lose some people. Like, you couldn't keep everybody, and the pieces they lost, you were kind of cool with. And I see a world where we don't have to hit the nuclear option and trade Robo, and just making, one tiny decision, and to get these, league minimum deals like we got. I think that's what's going to happen. Or I think we're going to, make a very, very tiny, third or fourth line departure, and we'll be fine. And it's going to happen. We just don't know when.
Yeah. And my guess is Dumba is going to have a pick attached to him. You're going to get a pick back, a lesser pick, and it's a salary dump. He's going to be UFA at the end of next year. But if it's not him and it's Robo, then I don't know what that looks like. Do you get 2 first-round picks and a prospect out of it? Like, you're not getting a Logan Stankoven back, but you're getting someone in the AHL that's not ready yet, but could be ready soon. Or are you trading Robo for another player of a similar salary cap where he fits into the team and it's a defenseman? Is it a right-handed defenseman, or is it another left winger? Kind of got options with that. I just don't know what that really looks like. And no one knows what the Dallas Stars are doing, because, like you said with Foxa, had no fucking clue. Had no idea that Radek Foxa was on the radar for the Dallas Stars. We don't know anything with free agency. We didn't know anything with trades except for the Miko trade that happened, 13, 14 hours before the trade actually went down is when we first heard wind of it. The Granny trade we heard 30, 45 minutes before that trade went down. It's like things don't get out until they're happening. So we'll see what happens. I hope Robo is not traded. I have his jersey. I don't want to have a pointless jersey in my closet anymore. I've got a few of them. I don't need any more. Just want to be able to keep my jerseys for a long time and be able to root for my guys. But we'll see. They're 1.7 over the cap. Things will happen. The insiders are all saying that trades are going to start popping up a little bit later this week, and next week is when the trade market's going to start popping off. So it could happen then. It may not. I don't know. I don't know anything. That's the Dallas Stars way. And we're not going to know until they send a tweet out before they send out the press release on email.
No, and just as far as, July 8th, the Dallas Stars ship feels, floating pretty unstable water. And that's, like you said with Colorado, like that's all you could ask for, because they got some work to do. And the work is not that much for Dallas anymore. And that just is attributed to how well you've been making moves. And it's a love-hate relationship with Dallas, because you never know what's going to happen. But you always, anytime you think you know what's going to happen, that never happens. But also, it's never the polar opposite. So it's something in the middle, and we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, and looking at the West, Colorado gets worse. Winnipeg gets worse. I think Edmonton got worse. They traded Kane. They lost Corey Perry. Like, lose some of their depth and some of their speed and some of their physicality. Like, they lost some leadership in that room. I think they got a little bit worse. Obviously, with McDavid and Draisaitl, like, you're not going to be much worse. You're going to be fine. They signed Bouchard to another giant cap number at $10.5 million, I believe. And the Kings spent all of their money on guys that shouldn't be making that much money. Anaheim's not any good. Utah, probably not. I think Vegas is the only team that got better in free agency in this draft period, but the Stars stayed the same. And if you're a top 2 team in the West and you're staying the same, I'm fine with that. I can't complain when everybody else is getting worse except for Vegas. And we've beaten Vegas before. They can do it again. I don't know. It's like, I don't like that they got Marner, but I think we're still a better team top to bottom.
The best thing about, if you're a Dallas Stars fan right now, is every other team in the West had to do something, and this season they're going to have to find a way to gel together. You don't have to worry about that with this Dallas Stars team. Everybody knows what everyone's responsibility is. They know what to do, and it's just going out there and playing. So that familiarity is going to go a lot longer than, a key free agent signing that anybody else in the West has gotten. And I think that's going to be the reason why we kind of steady this boat. And it's why the Astros have just been the Astros forever. Every time you think they're going to fall off, Altuve or somebody finds a way to just spark that fire again, and they're just inevitable. And I think if you keep this core together in Dallas, which, Toronto wishes they had this type of synergy in their organization. And it's that synergy that's going to keep Dallas afloat in a very, very competitive Western Conference.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it. Obviously, it's summer months, so we're not going to have a whole lot to talk about heading into the season. So we're going to go back and look at other games and talk about those. And from this past season, relive the Mikko Rantanen trade. I'm going to go back through all my tweets and see what happened in my head as I was driving across the country and during Mikko Rantanen trade day. We're going to get through all of it. We're going to get through the offseason. We're going to get to October soon enough. It's going to happen, but I hope everybody had a good 4th of July enjoying Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. I hope you enjoyed your 4th of July with the Zing Zang Bloody Mary mix, the Blazing Bloody Mary mix if you're into the hotter stuff, and just have a good time with that. Zang responsibly all summer long with Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. And shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up and get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. It's not sports betting. So we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Clean Sheet Advice. Dom, any last words?
Man, it's going to be, listen, if the trade market picks up, that'd be awesome. But with everything else that's going around in sports, like when October hits, it's with the NBA also, you're gonna want to stay plugged in. So we appreciate everybody. Yeah, we appreciate Apollo is really popping off on all of our platforms right now. Every single podcast is doing well. And if you're listening to this, we appreciate you, and stay along because we're only going up.
Yeah, hit that subscribe button wherever you're at on Apollo HOU on YouTube or wherever you get Clean Sheet Advice, Texas Hockey Podcast on podcast networks. We appreciate the journey this season. It was the first year. We started mid-year, and grinded all the way through the playoffs. We had an episode pretty much every game of the playoffs. So that was a lot of fun, but we'll get back to it a lot of the multiple times a week once the season starts. We're not going to do that beforehand because there's just not enough to talk about. But we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast.